McCarthy Auto Group is one of the largest auto groups in Kansas City, let alone the Midwest. It operates a total of 10 dealerships throughout the region. Whether you're looking for a quality used car in Blue Springs, Missouri, or a new car dealer in Overland Park, Kansas, McCarthy helps you cross each T and dot each I. And our commitment goes beyond the dealership. We continue to impact the lives of young student athletes in our area to propel them into their futures. And we are proud to partner with PrepsKC and present the McCarthy Elite Team.
Are you elite? When the game is on the line, you make that big tackle, break the long run, throw that block, make that kick. Are you the best of the best in KC? Well, starting this season, a new standard will be set. The most exclusive postseason honor in Kansas City high school football. The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team. Only 28 players will earn this distinction, from quarterback to kicker, defensive lineman to returner. It's not about the stars next to your name. It's about what you do on the field. Will you become part of the elite? The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team.
It is our all-metro team, only 28 spots, no second team, no honorable mention. Each week we've used this segment to talk about different position groups, and this week we bring in our own Andy Meyer, and we're talking about offensive linemen. And it's always a good year. We always have good offensive linemen here. They may not always be the guys like a Mason Richmond, who's a starting left tackle for Iowa, or Bo Stevens, who's a starting left guard for Iowa, the Blue Valley and Blue Springs, respectively, guys. But we have a ton of guys who go play D2. We have a ton of guys that are FCS, Andy, and we've got a list. If you're looking at this with the article, there's even more lists that we've kind of compiled. Only 5 guys make this team, and we've got a good group to choose from, don't we?
Absolutely. I mean, got to see 2 of them that are going to be, I would say, on the finalist list, or however that process is going to shake out. But during the Liberty and Blue Springs South game, they've got 2 returning all-state linemen in. Sorry, I was just getting my bearings. Dom Bruce, for Blue Springs South, just committed to Army. So congratulations to him. Played an absolutely phenomenal game, paving the way for the really great 1-2 punch that they've got in Darius Morgan and Kendrick Hawkins Jr. And then for Liberty, it was the situation where you had they've got the Jackson Hicks, the leading rusher in the city, both in terms of yards and touchdowns, and Trevor Bindle, returning offensive lineman for them. Trenton Bindle, I believe, missed the game through injury, and similar. I know that on that watch list, we've also got
Jude Cousins, the sophomore.
Jude Cousins as well, who I've yet to see, but based on his reputation and the way they've been running the ball and his physicality, those are going to be some of the names on that list. As far as in the Northland as well, it's funny. You've got St. Pius. They've also can run the ball and are going to be a super powerful offense that you see week in, week out. They're going to be a tough matchup and a tough out. In Class 5 there. Kyler Kuhn is a sophomore. His older brother, Rylan Kuhn, you would expect him to be on that list. He's not competing in football this year. He's up continuing and getting a jump start on his wrestling career and not going to compete for them. So, you've got representation there, even if it's not the brother maybe that you thought it was going to be. But, up and down the list, you've got all sorts of, I always make it a point. It's very easy during post-game interviews and everything else to, you got to interview the running backs and the quarterbacks. There's a linebacker who, makes 12 tackles in a game, or a receiver who comes up with a couple interceptions. You gotta, I always make it a point to interview some of the guys in the trenches that are getting it done. Don't get the recognition often because they're not in the end zones, but if you go back and watch every scoring play on the PrepsKC YouTube channel or my Twitter feed, who are the guys after the running back scores a touchdown that are lifting them up 4 or 5 feet in the air? Those are the guys that are helping put them in the end zone and contributing to that success. So it's super important to get them the recognition that they rightfully deserve. And look for, based on what we've seen so far and some of the great rushing performances that have been all around the city, that's going to be just like every other one of these on the elite list. Those spots are going to be hard to come by and well earned for the folks that do grab those.
Some of the guys I want to talk about, Bo Smith from Chillicothe was a tackle up until this year, moved to center, which is probably where he's going to play in college, and he's been a key for them. Moti Williams, or Modi, I don't know how you say his name.
Yeah, Modi Williams. Yeah.
Modi Williams. Anybody who's watched Liberty North play knows exactly what he's about. He's playing both sides of the ball. You've seen a lot of him over the last few years. And of course, the Jalen Williams from Oak Park, that's a guy who keys a lot of what they want to do offensively up in that offensive line. So no, that's just a little bit on the Missouri side and the Kansas side, which I know you don't get to see as much. You've got Andrew Babaloa, who's one of the top recruits, along with Brock Heath, both of them at Blue Valley Northwest. They're guys to keep an eye on. And Caleb Moore from Gardner Edgerton, an outstanding lineman for them. Braden Wilmus, who may be still a little raw, but for Lawrence Free State's a guy that keys for them. And of course, a guy like Braden Yoder from Lewisburg, who's a key for that undefeated team, and Seth Goins, who's just a mountain of a guy at like 6'7", 6'8", 300 plus pounds for DeSoto. So it's the running back position is going to be interesting because we've got guys like a Bo Smith, who's a center, and some other guys who are guards.
Yep.
Abe Schaefer from Mill Valley is playing a little right tackle, but he may be a guard down the line too. There's some different guys out there that key things, and it's not always the tackles that are the ones that get it done. Now we got plenty of guys who are playing tackle right now who may be playing another spot at the next level. But you're right. We appreciate when you guys are go talk to those offensive linemen, and sometimes those are the best interviews you get because those guys have got a perspective that nobody else has.
And what's one of the big cliches that you hear, because it's very easy to just, say, oh, it's like to hear the coach or the running back or the quarterback say, oh, I got to shout out the offensive line, to get specific about it and say, hey, like what was working well for you tonight? What allowed you to be so dominant in terms of the scheme, in terms of the preparation, how they were specifically wanting to attack. There's a lot of times, even throughout the course of the game, you can tell where they want to attack, and often like where they're going to run the ball. If did they keep running left? Guess what? That tackle and that guard, those are the guys that are moving people off the ball and getting to that second level and really opening up gaps and holes. Want to also say just a couple more guys that I had the chance to watch. Brandon Taylor from North Kansas City.
Yeah.
The game that I watched against Park Hill, he got injured pretty early on in there, maybe in the second quarter, and didn't have as much of an impact. But from a size and physicality perspective, you're not going to find a more physical kid in the Kansas City area than him. And then of course Joe Schranz, and there's all sorts of candidates on that Kearney offensive line that have helped them win a state championship last year and have them right back in the running again this year. So it is true that the bookends, right? Left tackle, right tackle, those are often the most physically dominant, impressive kids, but those interior linemen, take nothing away from them. There's been years when especially the Liberty North teams I'm thinking of, there've been a couple of those centers. Maybe they're they might be by height and weight the smallest kid on the team along the front, but they're the most important, the linchpin to the whole operation as well, being able to, move things around and be able to call everything out, and sort of the quarterback of the offensive line.
Yeah. Well, and that's what you see, especially, some of these teams over on the Kansas side, you're going to find the smartest kids are going to be playing center a lot of times when you're running flex mode and things like that, because they got to call out the line calls. And you see that all the way through the pros. I mean, the centers are the ones who are doing that. And I play a little center, so maybe I'm a little biased there. But no, it's
or the amount of movement that the guards have to do.
Yes.
You're pulling out to get on the front line of the attack and switching back and forth. The amount of responsibilities and complexity of those positions is just as much, if not more, than any other position on the field in terms of allowing those teams to have success and keep those teams moving forward and winning games.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we start shaking this down and getting down to 5. And we appreciate the fact that you're out there and watching those guys and keeping an eye on them for us. And we will chat with you again soon about more elite team stuff.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.